Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Vivek Ramaswamy is running for president. Now, this is a very, very good thing. If you do not know who Vivek Ramaswamy is, you need to learn not just his name, but what it is that he's been doing for the past 3 years that has been copied by every other presidential candidate up to this point, and some who haven't even announced yet. So this is the Unwokeable Podcast, and I'm here at the live. All right, sorry guys. So I'm in a new setup, and well, it's kind of a temporary setup. I've got something going on tomorrow that you're going to want to watch for. But Vivek Ramaswamy is running for president, and Jack Posobiec, I think, is having a little breakdown about it. And the reason why Jack Posobiec is having a little breakdown about it is because Vivek Ramaswamy is everything that Ron DeSantis wants to be and everything Donald Trump used to be, but it is looking like he no longer is. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Ron DeSantis. I like Donald Trump. But Vivek Ramaswamy has been actually taking the fight to the heart of wokeness in this country for the past 3 years. He literally wrote the book. He literally wrote the book that Ron DeSantis has carbon copied and put in an agenda in Florida, which has made him the most popular governor in the country. If you have not read Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy, you need to do that. And if you do not know who this man is, you need to learn. Because I believe, and I have said since September of 2021 after I read his book, that he should be president of the United States. And it's amazing to me what happened after Vivek's announcement tonight. Vivek went on the Tucker Carlson show, put out a video, and I'm going to show you these things. But I've got to start, I've got to start with the drama that went down, because immediately Jack Posobiec, who, gotta love Jack, right? But the man, he's hardcore Trump, and okay, great. But he went right after Vivek. And in a way that he's never done Ron DeSantis, which is very interesting to me. And of course, Ron DeSantis isn't going to say anything, right? He's not going to say anything because he isn't running yet. But he went right after it. He starts throwing out these accusations, right? He even retweeted me. I got my first Poso retweet tonight from Jack. And I'm going to show you that right now. First, like, subscribe, and share the channel. I've been demonetized for a short period of time without warning. So please like, subscribe, share the channel. Make sure that my reach isn't hampered by the demonetization algorithm. They gave no real reason other than I was copying. It said I was doing unoriginal stuff, and this is what I mostly do. I do interviews and I do live streams. So we're getting that worked out. So please like, subscribe, and share the channel. But let's get to Posobiec tonight. Okay. And again, you got to love Poso. He's right on most of the issues, but the man is maybe the quintessential for a troll for good purposes. But I think he went really off the mark today. He went really off the mark. And I got my first Poso retweet. So I'm going to show you this. Look at this. Okay. So I said, I was responding to Jack Posobiec. Okay. He said, almost immediately after Vivek's, almost immediately after his announcement, Poso goes on the attack. Imagine referring to Vivek as a major candidate when no one's even heard of this guy until 5 minutes ago. First of all, Jack Posobiec knows Vivek Ramaswamy. He knows who Vivek Ramaswamy is. He knows all of the things he's done to battle wokeness in the past 3 years, to end ESG. Vivek Ramaswamy is the reason anybody knows what ESG is. Nobody knew what environmental social governance was until he published Woke Inc. And since that moment, I've been tracking it, ladies and gentlemen, because I've been following Vivek, because as soon as I saw the guy, I was just, this guy knows exactly what is happening. He has been so outspoken about ESG, environmental social governance, and the damage it is doing to the country and to the world. And he nailed this down when I was out there searching for it, right? So I was battling wokeness at OU, and I kept trying to figure out why economics professors from the University of Oklahoma were injecting themselves into city government of Norman, Oklahoma, which is the college town that houses OU. And I'm like, what? When it came to social justice. And boom, here comes Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy, and lays out all of the reasons that we need as to why or what the economic push for defund the police was, for even down to transing in the schools. It all has an ESG economic focus. And so again, if you've not read Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy, if you do read it, I challenge you to do it. You will see that Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump now, and anybody who's preaching a social justice message or an anti-woke message, right, came to their understanding of ESG from his book, Woke Inc., where he laid it out absolutely point by point. Vivek Ramaswamy laid it out point by point. And so this is what Jack does. So Jack goes, imagine referring to Vivek, Mr. Ramaswamy, who's just announced his presidential candidate, on Tucker Carlson. It seems like Jack and Tucker and Vivek all run in the same circles, but Jack here is trying to say that nobody's heard of Vivek. Okay, so yeah, he's not as well known as Donald Trump, but nobody is. That's kind of the point of Donald Trump, wasn't it? But so I had to respond to this, and I responded to this. I was waiting. I was actually kind of stalking Jack, waiting for this. Okay, and again, I like Jack. Buy pillow, all that stuff, right? Okay, buy pillow, promo code POSO. But what Vivek did was sent Jack searching for his pillow, because he needs a comfy place to rest his head after Vivek kind of owned him on Twitter by doing nothing more than providing receipts. And this is part of what I like about Vivek, is that he's tuned into what is going on in America in a way that most people aren't. He's successful enough and mature enough to know what's going on at the upper ends of the spectrum when it comes to wokeness and ESG and everything that's going on. But he also has a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the social sphere, in what's causing you to watch this live stream right now. He knows he's got his finger on the button in a way that Donald Trump did in 2015, I believe. Part of what made Donald Trump successful in 2015 was that he had his finger on the pulse of what was going on in the United States. Why? Because he was on Twitter, because he was interacting with normal people, because he was on Fox News back when Fox News was the dominant force in all of media. And he was talking to people, and he was testing messages, but he was also getting an understanding of what Americans, everyday Americans, needed and wanted from a president. And sadly, Donald Trump has lost a bit of that. Well, he got kicked off Twitter, and nobody can blame him for that. Pardon me. And nobody can blame him for that. He was unjustly removed from platforms by big tech. But he also didn't do anything about big tech while he had the chance. And so he kind of ate his own agenda there a little bit. But because he's not on Twitter, because he's not on social media, because he's not plugged in the way Vivek is to what's going on in the United States, to what the normal person is saying, he's lost a bit of that mojo. And Jack is trying to keep him in the game, man. He really is. And I commend him for that. I like Jack. Buy pillow, right? But again, it's just amazing to me because he gets owned in this situation. And Jack usually doesn't shut up very quickly, but he moved on in this Twitter exchange we had. So I got quote tweeted by Jack Posobiec, my first Poso quote tweet. And he was coming after me a little bit. But I said this: imagine saying this about Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy who wrote the book that both Trump and DeSantis are copy pasting into their campaign agendas, which is exactly what's happening. The battle against ESG, a large portion of the attack that has gone on against wokeness and the WEF and those agendas. Read Woke Inc. It's all right there. Vivek outlines the problem in a way that is very easily understandable. He extended our knowledge on it by adding in what ESG was, how it was the financial push and the financial backing for everything we're seeing. He dug into BlackRock and all of these major organizations that are funding the dismantling of our country. And then he offered solutions. And you've seen Ron DeSantis start, probably thanks to Chris Rufo, because you don't see Ron DeSantis out here with his finger on the pulse of what's going on either. But you've got Chris Rufo, you've got Christine Pascal, you've got these other people, all of the paid mouths for the DeSantis campaign, which they seem to have most of them, and all these people I like. Just want to point that out. I'm just telling you what the truth is here, people. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay. And he, DeSantis has all these people, but he's not connected like Vivek is. He's not actually talking to these people. But Ron DeSantis has implanted or enacted an agenda in Florida that looks almost exactly like an outline to Woke Inc. by Vivek Ramaswamy. And so Poso comes out here and says that nobody knows who he is. Ron DeSantis knows who he is. Donald Trump knows who he is. Tucker Carlson knows who he is. Why? Because Vivek was the first to outline. He was behind enemy lines and quit his job as the CEO of a very large tech for a very large business involved in this stuff because he saw what was happening. And Jack comes out here and says, well, nobody knows who this guy is. Well, so my response was, imagine saying that. And so Jack quote tweeted me and he said, imagine thinking Vivek Ramaswamy was the first person to call out political correctness. No. See, this shows a weakness in Jack's armor here. Because what Jack did here, and I love you, Jack. I really do. I like you a lot. But, maybe you need to grab the pillow, get a few more winks of sleep, because this was not your A-game material, brother. This was not a Poso response, level response. It just wasn't. And so I said, he said, imagine thinking Vivek Ramaswamy was the first person. Why he put it in quotes, I'm not really sure. But again, he's trolling here, and you got to respect that. It's what he does. And, 9.5 times out of 10, we're going to, agree, him and I. But this one, man, no. It didn't go well for him. Why? Because then he starts pumping out all this stuff about Vivek being a member of the Young Leaders Forum for the WEF. Okay. And that's where he really kind of went off the rails. So I'm going to pull this up. Hold on, I got to find it here. But it's amazing, man, that he went this route, because it was so easily disproven. And what we really like to see here, what I really like seeing here, was that Vivek stood up for himself. Okay? Vivek went out and said, no, guys. See, he did exactly what made Chris Rufo famous and provided them receipts about this whole WEF mess that Jack has been just dumping out. So let me show you this. And this was great. This is what Donald Trump doesn't do anymore. This is what made Donald Trump president of the United States, was that he engaged. When someone attacked him, he attacked them directly, or he defended himself directly. And so let's show you this. Here's Jack, and he says, how strange. When you look at WEF's Young Global Leaders 2021 page today, it appears that someone's scrubbed from the list. Be a shame if someone had the receipts. And of course he has receipts. Now, he wasn't ready for Vivek, man. He wasn't ready for Vivek. Because I looked into this too, and trust me, anybody who knows me and have been watching my channel, follows my Twitter page, knows I'm very anti-WEF. But I knew what was coming here. And so Vivek, instead of sending, I don't know, Ian Miles Chong or, Libs of TikTok or, Cernovich or some of these other people after Poso, which he could have done if he'd bought them like DeSantis did. No, Vivek goes out and addresses it himself. So here is Vivek's response. He says, funny you should bring this up. The first chapter of my upcoming book in April has the receipts of my exchanges with the World Economic Forum years ago, when they repeatedly kept trying to get me to be named. I gave them all a polite hell no. Reveals the games that the WEF plays. And guess what? He says nobody's been working to dismantle the global WEF takeover more than him. And that is absolutely, he started Strive Capital to give asset fund managers a place to go away from BlackRock and all these, overlord companies that seem to own everything, and demand that they comply to ESG religious statements in the way that they monitor and operate their companies. I challenge you to go and look at what Vivek Ramaswamy has been doing, because again, Ron DeSantis is following his playbook that he outlined in Woke Inc. That's why anything is really happening in Florida the way it is, because Ron probably wouldn't know what to do had Vivek not outlined it for him. And then his handlers, Rufo and all of them, and I love these people, I do, grabbed a hold of Ron and said, look, this is what we should do. But here's the source. And what does Vivek do? Vivek provides receipts from his book to show exactly how he rebuffed the World Economic Forum and exactly what the exchanges were. And it's like he said, here's Vivek in his book. I could not get these guys to take me off their list. After I started complaining about it on Twitter a few months later, I finally got an email from the World Economic Forum apologizing for the confusion. Pardon me. saying it had never heard me decline the promise and promising to remove me from its site in a day or two. That didn't happen. Instead, I got more calls and emails from the original World Economic Forum rep telling me that it would be a mistake to try to take my name off the program. Looking back on all those exchanges, it reminds me of Dr. Seuss' story, Green Eggs and Ham. I do not want to be a young global leader. I kept insisting to no avail. I would not like it with billionaires. I would not like it with Davos heirs. I would not like it anywhere. And something strange happened after this little exchange. Something you don't see often. Jack Posobiec shut up and moved on to something else. Jack went and grabbed my pillow and laid down and took a nap on this one. Because Vivek Ramaswamy went out there head on and exposed what he was trying to do. And I think it's very interesting because now there's this picture of Donald Trump at the World Economic Forum, speaking at the World Economic Forum. And I think this picture is really interesting because if you listen to what Donald Trump said to the World Economic Forum, I was there, everybody who's against the World Economic Forum should like it. And I do. Just because Donald Trump spoke at the World Economic Forum, it does not mean that he is a shill for the WEF. And Jack knows that. And Jack knows this about Vivek. So he's using a dishonest, dare I say, woke tactic of bending the truth, which is what we are not supposed to be doing here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what has pissed me off about the conservative or the unwoke movement, is that we've gotten into this habit of adopting the tactics of the woke monster that we're trying to fight. And I believe that that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is getting into this race for, to stop that from happening. And he made an example out of Jack Posobiec tonight. And again, I like Jack. Buy pillow, okay? Promo code POSO. But he made a fool out of Jack tonight, and rightfully so. Because what Jack was doing was dishonest, and he knows it. And as soon as Vivek engaged the way, I don't know, a 2015 Donald Trump would have, a little more class, get me wrong. He's got his own style. Okay? Jack retreats. Jack goes silent. And as I said to a friend of mine just recently who tangled with Jack, and there was some dishonesty there too. Vivek showed exactly how you handle this situation. You handle this situation the same way you would deal with anybody who's using a woke tactic, is you provide the receipts, you show the truth, and you hit it head on and you move past it. It's what made us like Donald Trump. And again, I still like Donald Trump. I just think he's way disconnected. He's way disconnected from the apparatuses and the people that made him president in the first place. And Ron DeSantis never has been connected, just so you know, to that. He's connected to some other people I don't like very much. But when it comes to the common person, not so much. Not so much. And so here's my thing. I'm not going to keep you long because it's late and I've got some things. Yeah, accommodate cray cray. Yeah, it's exactly what she said. Exactly what I've been thinking. It's just come over for us now. It's just, no, it's not game over. It's not game over. No. Read Woke Inc. Go find out who Vivek Ramaswamy is, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what he's been saying. Listen to what he's been saying. And in this crap about, his race or whatever, get off my stream with that. I don't like woke racists. I don't like regular racist. They're all racist. Okay? Vivek is everything Barack Obama claimed to be. And he's actually laid out the architecture and the plan for taking them down that all of the other Republican candidates in the country have been using. I mean, I don't want to just talk about presidential candidates. I'm talking about state houses and, you've seen ESG bills in Oklahoma and in all these other places. You would not know what ESG was without Vivek Ramaswamy. So you, my friends, have a duty to know, okay, to get to know this man. And he's an excellent communicator. He's obviously a very intelligent person. He's a successful person. He's not tangled up in the swamp. He's never held elected office. Who does this remind us of? But guess what? He can articulate a message and think deeply about things and then communicate that message in a way that Donald Trump never could. And he grasps these issues not just from having people like Chris Rufo or Christina Bushell or Cernovich or libs of TikTok whispering in his ear, okay? No. He was the whisperer. It's like, would you rather have the guys do the job that copied their homework or the one who actually was copied from? I think this will change the whole dynamic of this presidential race, because I know lots and lots of people, myself included, who have already grown tired of the back and forth with Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, because, what I'll say of Trump is that at least he goes at it himself. Ron DeSantis acts like he's not running and then pays a bunch of pack mouths to spread his message for him and sits high atop the thing acting like he's so good and true. And you have Matt Walsh out here crying big crocodile tears because Donald Trump called him Ron DeSanctimonious, which is by far the worst nickname Donald Trump has ever come up for anybody, and crying like little victims. Vivek Ramaswamy could have done that here. He could have done that here. No, he went right after it. He went right after it. And hello, Wikipedia snippet. How are you? It's good to see you. Conservative Z, good to see you, of course. Lloyd Braun. Just don't with this. Oh, well, now first we get Barack Obama. Now this guy. This is no longer come on, man. Be better. No, not do better. Don't just. Vivek is the real deal. I read his book days after it came out. And everything good you're seeing your favorite candidate of the moment do right now is a copy of that book. And I'll actually put it into my chat, guys, so you can actually see it, because I think it's really important that you read it. It changed my whole outlook on the fight against the woke monster. It's what's been guiding me to, if you're a fan of my channel and of my Twitter account and things, to actually show you where the Republicans in this country have been selling you down the river. You can thank Vivek for a lot of that. And it's really important. Here, I'll show you. That you take a look at it. All right, you vote for who you want to vote for. You do your own homework. I'm just telling you, okay? And why back on September 9th of 2021, I tweeted Vivek Ramaswamy for president. Because he's This is the book, Woke Inc., right here. I'm going to copy it for you, put it in the chat. Read the book. It's on audiobook. Read it. And tell me, and then look at when it was written, and tell me Ron DeSantis hasn't been following this man's playbook. Tell me tell me Donald Trump hasn't been picking up on that here in the last month or two, especially. Tell me you don't get a better understanding of how to fight wokeness from this book. Tell me you haven't seen people like Chris Rufo, James Lindsay, and myself, and others actively preaching the message that Vivek put into this book. And then explore what it is that he wants to do for the country. And then compare him to the other candidates. That's my advice. But I'm going to play his video for you because I think you should see it.
Crisis. Faith, patriotism, and hard work have
Tell me if you can hear it.
Only to be replaced by new secular religions
you have to get that
like COVIDism, climatism, and gender ideology. We hunger to be part of something bigger than ourselves, yet we cannot even answer the question of what it means to be an American. Today, the woke left preys on that vacuum.
Hold on just a second. I'm going to bring this
race, your gender, and your sexual orientation.
I need to fix my audio settings because I got unplugged. So this was an announcement video. And as soon as this came out, I was like, I'm going to watch Poso. I'm going to watch Poso to see what it is he's doing. And sure enough, there he goes, shooting off at the mouth.
We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. Faith, patriotism, and hard work have disappeared, only to be replaced by new secular religions like COVIDism, climatism, and gender ideology. We hunger to be part of something bigger than ourselves, yet we cannot even answer the question of what it means to be an American. Today, the woke left preys on that vacuum.
Tell me if you can
They
hear
tell
this.
you that your race, your gender, and your sexual orientation govern who you are, what you can achieve, and what you're allowed to think. This is psychological slavery, and that has created a new culture of fear in our country that has completely replaced our culture of free speech in America. And that is why today I am announcing my run for President of the United States. This isn't just a political campaign. This is a cultural movement to create a new American dream for the next generation. To me, the American dream means you believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means you believe the people who we elect to run the government are the ones who actually run the government, not a federal bureaucracy that grows like a national cancer that is now metastasizing to the private sector. It means that the best ideas win instead of getting censored. It means you don't have to choose between speaking your mind freely and putting food on the dinner table. It means you believe these ideals form the backbone of the greatest nation on earth, that the rest of the world still looks up to as its example, not the Soviet Union in the last century and not communist China in this one either. That is the new American dream.
See?
Ask yourself if you believe in these ideals. I think most of you do. I think most of you believe your neighbors do too, though you can't be sure because you don't feel free to talk about it anymore. You might disagree with each other about corporate tax rates or about whether ivermectin treats COVID, but those are details. We still agree on our nation's most fundamental principles. At least most of us do. Yet the goal of the ruling party in this country is to convince us that we are divided. Why? So they can accumulate more power for themselves. Well, you know what? I have a dream that we can be one people again. We have obsessed so much over our diversity and our differences that we forgot all the ways we're really just the same as Americans. bound together by a common set of ideals that brought together a divided, diverse, headstrong group of people 250 years ago. And I believe deep in my bones that those ideals still exist, and I am running for president to revive them. E pluribus unum. From many, one. That is the dream that won the American Revolution. That is the dream that reunited us after the Civil War. That is the dream that won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is the dream that still gives hope to the free world today. And if we can revive that dream over fractious group identity, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we will need to revive to save this great nation.
Come on now. There are more than just one option, man. There are more than just 2 options in this race. And I believe Vivek is a serious candidate. And I also believe that he has a serious chance. But what I can also say is that even if he didn't, what I know for a fact is that he will raise the level of discourse and debate in this country. Because he's the guy who wrote the book. He's the guy who wrote the book. So you're going to see more from me in the next couple of days. Be watching tomorrow especially. And if anything else happens with old Jackie Poso, buy a pillow. I'll let you know. All right? But give Vivek a look. Go read his book. It's worth a shot. And that's me. I'll see you later. Please like, subscribe, share to the channel. Share the channel. Still demonetized. Go over to Rumble. I'm on Rumble. Like, subscribe there. Twitter and all that. But until then, this has been your time, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for spending it with me. We'll see you later.